Oh, I just had a lesbian couple walk past me, or playing the part of lesbians, walk past me holding hands, because I'd said about them holding hands in a previous video. You know how you're trying to make me feel all alone and stuff, so they're obviously thinking, aha, wrong gender set. We'll walk past her with lesbians holding hands, because maybe that'll make her feel all fucking lonely. It doesn't, again, it doesn't. They had the lesbians walk past me. I just fucking said out loud, there's lots of gang stalkers around today, because they don't like it when you call them out. I couldn't give a fuck. I tell you what, the amount of people that I've walked past and said something to, and not one of them has ever said anything back to me. Not one. It's very telling, that, isn't it? You know, considering that I've been a fucking cheeky bastard at times to some of them. And of course the lesbians were wearing all black outfit, you know. The dickheads, one of the dickheads in the house, they had synchronised with me this morning as I left my room to come outside, was wearing all black. You know, just to kind of set the tone. And then I get outside and it's everybody's wearing black day, and the majority of them have rucksacks on their backs, of course. But I wanted to talk. There was a guy with a couple of dogs, so I'm just checking how far away he is, because they sent him out of his house as soon as I approached, and then he wanted me to walk in front of him, but I just stalled for a little while. But then unfortunately I had to walk past him because he's pretending that he's giving his dogs biscuits, you know. They've just left the fucking house. I don't know what they've done to deserve a biscuit, but again, they just want to stall so you can be in front of them, so that they can fucking monitor what it is that I'm saying on my phone and where it is that I am, and let their little deviants that are placed further along my route know, you know, that I'm approaching them. But yeah, the neural monitoring has been a constant lately, and I've been reading up on it, you know, reading up on the kind of brain interfaces, the brain computer interface. You can tell that I'm really technical. That's why this stuff is hard for me, because I'm not technical at all, and it's really difficult for me to understand. Although I did find a channel, and I'll maybe share her video, because she breaks it down and makes it really understandable for idiots like me. But I can feel when they're hooked up to me. I've said it before in my video, probably not very well. I don't speak very well, you know, I'm not very coherent or clear when I'm talking. I kind of ramble. It's just my style of talking. But yeah, I can tell when they're hooked up to me. You know, I'll get colour in my eyes, because I usually keep my left eye. This is obviously mirrored, this screen. I usually keep my left eye covered when I'm outside with my glasses with tape on the inside, like I've said before. But because there's a gap in the bottom, you know, they'll leave little messages on the ground. So there'll be things spray painted on the ground, and then they'll kind of direct my eyes to kind of look at them. And I think they are messages for other people in their network who are monitoring, who are looking through my eyes, who are connected to me, who are neurally linked up to me in a computer, and then they're directing my eyes to look down at the ground at certain places where they've left messages for each other, so that they see them through my eyes, you know. So I think some of the graffiti on the ground is for them, and they want me to look at it. And obviously, if they can't manipulate my eyes, there's obviously a gap under my glasses, so there'll be a little part of my eye that's able to look down, you know, and it'll still be seen in the peripheral vision. Even though I'm not conscious of looking at it, I'm sure if you're someone behind a computer, you can kind of pause and zoom in and do all that kind of stuff. But I can tell with the purple, you know, the flash purple. And also I'll get a kind of buzzing in my feet. And it feels like a buzzing, you know, it's like someone's taped a mobile phone to the bottom of my feet, and it's on vibrate, and that's all I can feel in my feet. And I know that they're connected up to me, you know, with the purple and the buzzing. And then I'll get the pain, you know, because they're obviously pressing, you know, deciding that they're going to direct pain to certain places, and, you know, headaches, and, you know, they'll cause my fingers to move as well, cause me to sneeze, cough, cause my breath to shorten, you know, headaches, whatever it is that they're doing. But it's quite often now. You know, they're doing it more and more often, and I don't know why. I can only assume that because I'm kind of covering my eyes and outsmarting some of their stuff in some ways, you know, like keeping an earplug. Again, in my left ear, it's pretty much permanently in there, although it does cause a bit of pain in my ear leaving it in all the time. So, you know, I do have to keep it out at sometimes, but it's definitely you know, they're using us as little test subjects, aren't they? You know, they're testing things on us, and that's what the gang stalking's all about, to see how you react in certain situations and to see what it is, how it is that they can modify and change your behaviour. They can make you do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. And although you see the things in the environment, i.e. this red and blue cars will synchronise with you, and the dog walkers or whatever it may be, at the same time, they're putting something into your subconscious via the computer program that they're using. You know, the AI, or, you know, it's manned, isn't it? It's manned by a man, but it's AI programming pretty much. They're putting something into your subconscious, so then in the end they can in the future, I suppose, they can take away the environmental stimuli. They won't need to use that anymore. They won't need to use those people. They'll just be able to beam whatever it is, the feeling that they want you to feel directly into your brain, and you will feel it. You know, I'll give you an example in the house that I noticed, although I called this out and then they've stopped it because I called it out. It's just one of them. So it won't go off the screen now. Just a little monitor lizard. I just came up with that. It's quite funny actually. I do make myself laugh at times. Yeah, so in the future they'll be able to, in the house I noticed I only eat once a day. I make one meal a day, pretty much the same thing all the time. And I eat it around kind of early afternoon, you know, I have my one meal. So I noticed that they would, every time that I made my one meal, one of the guys in the house, when I went upstairs to eat my food, he would put his music on extremely loud. You know, this was continuous. It became a daily thing every single day. And it'd be all quiet until I took my food upstairs and I started eating, and then his music would start. You know, and then usually I don't keep too much stuff like food in my room. You know, I try not to buy too much stuff because I've got a history of kind of binge eating and, you know, that type of thing. So, but any time that I did have food in my house, this guy was here yesterday as well. I think sat with his child in the van, monitoring me as I walked past. Fucking idiot. If I did have any other foods, I would notice that they would make me kind of constantly think about that. It'd be constant intrusive thoughts, you know, if I happened to have anything in my room that I'd bought, because, I mean, everything's monitored, you know, they're seeing through your eyes, listening through your ears, everything you're doing, they know. So they would know if I had food in my room, and they would constantly come at me with these intrusive thoughts, you know, about wanting to eat this food. And at the same time, in the background, this clown in the house would be playing really, really loud music. And I realised what was going on, you know, and I called it out one day. I said, "You're trying to fucking Pavlov's dog me." I just said it out loud in my room. I said, "Look at yous with your fucking Pavlov's dog stimulation, like trying to make me so that every time you play loud music, it'll make me hungry." And that's exactly what they're doing. So in the future, they would be able to play loud music, but at the same time, I don't know what it is that they're putting into my subconscious via this Neuralink that they have. You know, they could be putting anything in, like, you know, a picture, a face, a flash of colour, a number, a sound. You don't know what's going on because you're not consciously aware of it. You can't hear it. So again, you know, they can take away the loud music eventually, and they'll just have you reacting to the thing that they're putting into your brain neurally, you know, that they're bypassing your consciousness. And they're putting in, so they're deciding when it is you eat, you know, when it is you sleep, what it is that you see, when you feel pain, you know, they're doing something. They're using the environmental stimuli alongside the neural linking to kind of take away your freedom, take away your free thinking, your free thought, your free will, free. And you're not even aware of it, you know, because you don't know what they're putting in. And it's really important to to try and be aware of your thoughts, you know, what thoughts are yours and what thoughts are putting in. This never seen such bright headlights in my life. Yeah, that's the kind of environmental stimuli is that, you know, just try to, you can see the stuff in the environment, but there's something else behind it. That's not what it's all about, you know. That is behaviour modification as well, to try and if they crowd you, you'll make certain decisions, and you know, they want you indoors all the time as well, because it's much easier for them to hook up and link up to you when you're in an environment where there's access to electricity and you know, broadband or whatever it is that they're fucking bouncing off. I've got no idea, but I would presume it's much more difficult for them to do it when you're on the move outside. Although I don't doubt that it still happens, but I think to kind of get the most out of it, you know, they want to do things to you indoors. And of course, to cause you the pain, you know, I still get pain occasionally, burning sensations, etc. when I'm out walking. So they can do it, you know, there is stuff in the environment, but yeah, probably ran out of time. I don't know what time I started. Ran out of fucking breath, that's for sure. Yeah, I had more to say, but when I start talking, it all just disappears from my brain, and that's kind of the way this works. You know, they want you to sound like rambled like an idiot, so, you know, very few people are going to sit through it. People will listen to people who talk in a kind of coherent, excuse me, making me burp again, I've not had anything to eat or drink. Yeah, so you sound kind of incoherent and people aren't going to listen to you. You sound like a raving lunatic. Maybe I am a raving lunatic. I don't think I am. I'm definitely aware of what it is that's happening and what it is that they're doing. You know, I can feel the sensations. They're not psychological feelings. You know, I'm aware of the floater in my eye. You know, it's shaped like an L, but with dots. So it's like dot, 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 going across, and then under that there's a dot, and then there's another floater that's a bit further. They're in my right eye, but it's a bit, they're two of them are quite close together, and I can see the one that's kind of shaped like an L, you know. When you look, you can see a floater in your eye if you look at the sky on a kind of bright sunny day. If you look at a plain surface, you know, you'll be able to see. And I know I can see that one, and there's another one next to it, but unfortunately, because it works in line with your sight, any time that I move my eyes, it goes out of my vision, you know, so I try and kind of catch a look at it. Sometimes it's like a kid, you know, if you're watching something on TV and you kind of look round the corner to try and see the rest of it, but it goes out of my vision. I can't catch it in my vision, unfortunately, the other one, but I presume it's just an L, but kind of backwards. That's kind of what it seems like, what I would presume it is, but it's definitely something, you know. Someone commented once an RFID chip, and yeah, that's probable, or some kind of camera interface type thing, you know, that they can see through. I've got another story about that actually, so I'm going to end this because I might be out of time. So take care, lots of love to you all, and God bless.